You're going to watch this video. It's only about a minute long, and it's going to show you a little bit more information about making text connection. And text connection is just basically saying, hey, I understand this story because this situation happened to me, or I saw this in a movie, or I read about this in the newspaper or in another book. And when we make these connections, that means we understand the story or the text a little bit better. So, for example, I am going to read this story. I'm going to start off by looking at the title right here. And the title says Her Own Room. And when I look at the title, I'm thinking this story is probably going to be about someone who got their own room finally, or is wanting their own room. And I can relate to this because as I was growing up, I've always wanted my own room. So let's go ahead and begin reading. But now, finally, Dana was going away to college, and the room would be Isabel's alone. She had waited for this moment. So right there, that tells me she is getting her own room, and I can see the connection because, like I said, I've always wanted my own room growing up. As Dana dragged her duffel bag into the hallway, Isabel lay on the bed. She imagined what it would be like to hang up her own posters on the space vacated by Dana's art. She would have the whole closet and would even get to keep some of Dana's high school clothes. Dana hadn't actually said, "Isabel, dear sister, you may now have all my old clothes," but she was leaving them behind, which to Isabel seemed as close to a gift as she would get. So right here, I can relate to this, or I know about this because watching movies, I have, seen these, older people wearing these awesome clothes. I'm like, man, I can't wait to have those clothes. And my cousin, she was always in the latest fashion. And I was just like, man, I really want those clothes. And I knew eventually I would get them. Isabel looked at the dresser top. Dana had packed up the radio and iPod. She left the plug-in phone. The room was quiet. Isabel wondered if her dad would mind giving up the radio he had in his workshop. Her room needed something for listening to music. Her own music, not just what Dana liked. And if you ever shared a room with somebody, you know that sometimes their music is not the song you want to listen to. Maybe you're just like, what? Why are you listening to this? This is an awful song, right? And when you get you find your own space and you get your own room, you can listen to your own music. It's like a really good feeling. She heard Dana haul her bags towards the front door. She was driving with a friend's family to college. When the door opened, Isabel could feel the fresh breeze gust into her room. She pulled herself off the bed and went to the door to say goodbye. Her mother was crying. Her father slipped Dana $50 and hugged her. Dana managed to hug her too, and then, without warning, Isabel began to cry. She ran back into her room and shut the door, then sat on her sister's bed. She could hear Dana get into the car. The last thing she heard was Dana yelling out, "I see you at Thanksgiving." I don't know if you've ever seen movies about teenagers going off to college and their parents being all sad. I know when I left the house, my parents were pretty sad to see me go because they wouldn't be seeing me every day. Or maybe you just had, somebody move out of your house and you felt kind of sad by that. So you see how we're kind of making these connections and we're understanding the story a little bit more? Isabel felt better then. Thanksgiving was just 3 months away. She went to the window and watched the car drive out of sight. And so when you get to your story here, as you are listening to it, it's all audio. I will be putting up the actual document to read in the next lesson. But you'll have these little things right here where I have it paused, and you're going to answer the question and see and make connections with here. Just like I did with her own room, you're going to do the same thing here in these where these dots are. So as you play, it's going to stop at these dots and you're going to answer the question. So for example, it says, how do you feel getting older? So you'll answer that question as well. Let me know if you have any questions.